Welcome to the Warren Cycling Podcast. My name is Dean Warren. I'm in Frankfurt, Germany today.
And I'm Randy Warren, and I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
It's episode 373 of the Warren Cycling Podcast. We're recording today on November 18th, 2024. It was a dreary, overcast, mostly rainy day here in Germany. But I did get a bike ride in because it stopped raining, which coincided with my really late arrival. So I'm about to fall asleep pretty soon here.
It's funny because here it's 69 degrees and sunny with low wind, and I'm not going to get out for a ride.
Oh man!
I did get a good dark social ride, downtown Asheville Racing Club social ride in yesterday where it was similar conditions, but today so far I've only went to the gym to lift weights, and then I am going to do a practice session for my velocity classes I'm leading starting next week. So if you're interested in those, I guess you could go to warrencycling.com for those. I didn't post them yet, but I'll post those soon. We're going to do form and efficiency drills, which I've kind of caught on again the last couple of years. I've been doing those for 30, 40 years, but one-legged drills and spinning drills to really embed those neuromuscular pathways and the strength, build up some strength that in muscles you don't normally use, so that you can have a better pedal stroke and better form on your bike for next season.
Now, the power pedals that measure your output per side, or I guess the other power meters have two-sided power meters, will they show you, as you get more efficient, will they show a more even pedal stroke? I mean, can you use that to see how you're improving in that area?
Oh yeah, definitely, especially if it's off. So I've had athletes who've broken hips, or an athlete right now who broke his tibia and fibia, and so we're just going to start in a couple weeks doing one-legged drills. And
is that Aiden Hutchinson's alias name?
Yeah, it's the same injury. Yeah, except for he got hit by a car though. This my athlete. So, but he'll and we'll see. Right now, there's a huge difference, and we'll see it gradually get back to normal. And we did that same thing with the person who had a hip replacement, and then same thing too is like I've had other athletes who I just noticed. I'll be like, ooh, I like to have it between 48 and 52% side to side. If it's much worse than that, then we usually work on it. So if it's like 44 and 56 or something like that percent, one like the other, then we'll do some drills to make sure that we can balance that out better. And you can definitely see a difference being made in that too. So they work.
They're effective, these drills. So yeah, everyone can benefit.
Oh yeah, but even if you're pretty close, if you're pretty close, it's still important to do one-legged drills, because so there's been some critiques saying that again, it didn't get much press for a long time, and then recently we're talking about the form efficiency drills. Everybody pretty much agrees that the spinning drills are helpful. Some people say that the one-legged drills aren't as helpful. Kind of like they were saying for a while that your big gear or slow cadence drills aren't effective, and they point to you never have a race situation, which is exactly like that. But just because you don't have a race situation that is exactly like something doesn't mean it's not beneficial to your riding. So one-legged drills too, it's rare, if ever, you'd have to pedal with one leg, but the idea is that you develop those neuromuscular pathways around so you can have pressure almost all the way around. So it's almost impossible to apply pressure on the upward stroke between, around 9 and 11 o'clock. That there's more of a lightening of the pressure. You're not actually pulling up, at least at very high cadences. But you need to establish those neuromuscular pathways, and our bodies just get a little lazy sometime throughout the year, and we don't do that as much, and we become less efficient. And then the idea is that we develop those neuromuscular pathways now and build some muscle strength in some areas that you maybe you're losing that strength because you're not engaging those as much, so that when you're in the season, you're more ready to have a more efficient stroke. So from a racing standpoint, if you're racing, when it comes down to that time when you're really tired, everybody's not, at their best physically anymore, the person who's more efficient is going to have an advantage over the people that are less efficient. So you might be able to beat an athlete who's stronger than you because you're more efficient. And so that's what we work on a lot too. But even for the recreational rider, if you're doing a century, for example, and you're getting tired towards the end and you're limping in and it's so hard at the end, if you're more efficient, it's going to be much easier to complete that century feeling fresh and doing it, not destroying yourself at the end too, if you're more efficient on the bike. So it really doesn't matter what kind of cyclist you are. These drills are super important. And so I'm going to do an 8-week series on the Velocity platform. So we'll get to see each other and talk, and I'll see your numbers, and you'll see my numbers and everything else too. But we're going to do that starting a week from the 25th, so a week from today. So
just a couple of days before Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving week, that Monday.
Yeah, we'll do Monday and Wednesday spinning in one-legged drills, and then we'll do 4 weeks in a row. We'll take a break over Christmas, and then we'll pick up again and do 4 weeks after Christmas too.
So this is open to anyone as long as you get on this Velocity platform. Is that how that works?
Yeah, yep. It's free for the first 2 weeks. You try it out. If you don't like it, you can stop. And if you do like it, then you pay, a little bit of money to do that on a monthly basis. And then you can, again, quit whenever you want to quit too. So this series will be 2 months long, but then we'll also have other kind of workouts too. But that's the first one we start.
What kind of equipment do you need to be on that platform?
Well, you do need a smart trainer. So that's one thing too. And then you need some kind of device, an iPad, or I think you can do it from your phone, but it's a little harder to see from the phone, or a computer, or a monitor, or something. You do need to have some technical things, and it goes over all that when you sign up for Velocity, what exactly you need. But you do need to have some equipment to make it work. Yeah.
So if you're already on other platforms, though, you'd probably have all the equipment necessary, right?
Oh yeah. Yep, for sure. And if you actually just want to buy just the form and efficiency drills, you can do that in Training Peaks. So if you look for, I think it's the only plan I have for sale right now on Training Peaks. I even forget what I'm charging for it, but not very much money. And it just has the workouts you can do on your own. But I found most of my athletes who do them in the group atmosphere, because I have done them online classes before, and they always say it's much easier to do them because these are hard to do with a group. So when you have a group of people, and I talk to you the whole time, and especially on the Velocity platform, I can actually see what you're doing. So if you get off the bike during them, I can say, hey, what are you doing? Or if you're getting really sloppy or something like that too, I'll be able to tell. So you're definitely held accountable, and it's easier to do.
Yeah, I can tell for sure when I'm riding and say I've got a headwind and I was trying to keep a certain average speed and I'm getting tired. If I concentrate on my pedal stroke, I can easily increase my speed without feeling like I'm making much more effort. It just takes more concentration. But I guess if you're doing the drills and getting that muscular neural um, repetitiveness where you don't have to think about it anymore, that's where you
Right.
benefit, right?
Yeah, you want it to be natural. And the same thing comes from climbing too. When you're on a climb and you're getting tired and your watts are starting to drop, if you just focus a little bit more on the one, the pedal strokes and stuff like that you're doing in the drills, literally I'll think about how it felt in the drills sometimes, and boom, your watts go up immediately. And you're right, you're not even feeling like you're working harder, but you're being more efficient, and then your watts go up and you're going faster.
Yeah, either that or I get into a more aero position. I'm always surprised too how much the aero but sometimes it's not so comfortable to be in that aero position. But wow, I was always surprised, like, wow, it's a lot faster to be more aero, isn't it?
Yeah, and everybody's talking about that too, as far as innovations in cycling. The next big thing is really aerodynamics. Everybody says, so I started wearing even aero socks this last year in gravel races, even as well as road races. But they're and more bikes, even climbing bikes now are becoming aero slash climbing bikes, and just of course your kit, what you're wearing, how your kit fits and stuff like that too. That's more aero. Your helmets, I have a aero road helmet I use for the road. Then I've got a gravel helmet with more vents on it because you're going slower and you need more ventilation than gravel. So yeah, it's definitely that things are happening too as far as being more dynamic. I mean, if you look at anybody doing a time trial, it's real rare to see someone with bare arms anymore. Even in the hottest weather, they're still wearing full sleeves for time trials. But that's carrying over just to regular road racing. You see so many people that are competing for the wins now in these longer road races, like even in the tour stages and things like that too. They're all wearing either skin suits or flight suits, speed suits, whatever they call them. But they're basically like a skin suit, except for they have pockets maybe in them too. And then you'll see the domestiques wearing regular jerseys and stuff because they need to carry stuff for the team leaders who are in the hero kits and stuff too. So yeah, that's definitely and I mean the hidden cables now and stuff too, and every it's just everything is coming down more to aerodynamics.
Right. I guess probably Velo News is where I see more of my articles, but there was an article about like the next steps in improving performance because physical performance, it seems like they're reaching a limit, except for no, I mean, you can't get up to Teddy Pogacar because he's naturally gifted
Freak of
higher,
nature. Yeah.
but to get closer, the teams are putting more money into like you're talking about the aerodynamics, especially Red Bull or Hans Grohe. I think even Visma, Lisa Bike have a lot of money to do that, and they can make gains. It's kind of, as Guy used to do, make marginal gains and looking at everything. But Yeah, the money is going in to do that, and so the richer teams will benefit more. Did you read the Matteo Jorgensen article
Not yet,
about?
no.
Yeah, that's a nice article. But just from him going from Movistar to Visma Lease Bike was a huge step in seeing performance gains through equipment and all the efforts they put in. I mean, Visma Lease Bike, which I don't know if it's been tested so much. One of the teams that wore that crazy time trial helmet reminded me of the Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, recently, I was thinking about now is how they're coming up with ways to do wind testing without being in a wind tunnel.
Yes, I have seen
So-
that, and I'm interested when that device comes to the retail market to see if it's something that I might want to invest in too. So I forget how much it is, $1,700. Not super expensive, I think. Maybe it's in the over 1,000. I forget now, but you're right. Yeah, because wind tunnel time is super expensive, and it's also you usually have to travel, and you're limited on time. You have a very small period of time to do things. But this device, right, it actually measures the wind and combines that with your power outputs and stuff too. And you have a couple different sensors you put on different parts of your bike and your body, and yeah, you'll be able to tell
it's real world situations too, where the wind
Yep.
tunnel you might somehow be maybe not in the same frame of mind or position thinking or just riding like you would out on the road.
Yeah, it's good to be able to do that for sure. And we've done testing, aerodynamic testing before on velodromes before, where you can do your watts at a certain speed or your speed at certain watts and that kind of stuff
Change
too.
position.
So, yeah. So my thought is that if you could combine this new equipment with that kind of stuff too, and then also go out on the open road too, you'll be able to refine your position pretty well to help make it more aerodynamic. And the thing is too is that if the Pro Peloton, even the smaller teams benefit, or the racing is different rather, for everybody, because the whole peloton is going faster. So I read an article not too long ago about that, where it's just like, because there are these gains in aerodynamics and bike efficiency, and everybody's getting more fit in general, even the domestiques, everybody, that racing is just faster too. So everybody has to go faster. Even if you're a person who's not getting the technological advantages because your team budget doesn't allow it, you're still racing faster in every stage because you have to be in the peloton to be able to compete. And so it's causing everybody to go faster, whether it's their own personal gains that are happening, or if it's just the group effort in terms of gains.
And the faster you go, the more aerodynamics makes a difference too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also more danger too, unfortunately. So it makes crashes more severe, and it makes being able to react to things, your reaction time is shortened by a little bit, and so there's a lot of things that happen as an effect for the pelotons going faster.
Sure, and the disc brakes are braking more efficiently too, so you're braking faster.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Right. You're speeding up faster, and you're slowing down faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably, of course, there is more safety. Helmets are probably never been as good as they are now, and equipment too. Yeah. I mean, kits, won't shed as much too. It depends on what kind you have too. But there's some kits that are more durable than others when you crash and stuff too. Some of them
some
really
are like
thin
shreds.
ones,
There's nothing
right,
left.
they just disappear.
Disintegrate.
Yeah, but there's other ones too that are tougher that you can actually make it through a crash and come up, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even, I don't even see it. Nothing got ripped or something. So
They got some Kevlar in them or something, huh?
I know for a little while, I think they were doing Kevlar. We even to some. For a little while too, a friend of mine used to race with hip pads.
Yeah.
So, which seems a little fatalistic to me. I never did that, but he, he was a national class racer, and he did hip pads. So, and I've seen people race with elbow pads too, but that's I think mentally would throw the rest of the pack.
I would be afraid to race against someone that's wearing elbow pads.
Right. But he might be wearing them or she might be wearing them because they're afraid of what the rest of the pack is doing. So you never know. But I don't think that's it's never really caught on.
Not a good image.
No. But you could though have Kevlar, woven into your hips of your shorts, your bibs, and you may not even notice that from a visual perspective. So
tell me just a little bit more about those Aero socks that you're wearing. Are they a lot more expensive?
Yeah, well, about $30 for a pair of socks.
Yeah.
But I recently got some Silico wool socks that were retail for $30. I got them on sale, pretty good discount. But yeah, I mean, I think so. $30 for a pair of socks is certainly expensive, but it's not outrageous. And they
How many
claim,
watts saving?
Well, anywhere from 2 to 8, so it's a pretty wide range. I researched pretty heavily to get the one that was consistently rated, the best ones.
Is that with shaved legs?
It didn't have a differentiation in shaved legs too, but I know Specialized
Just
did do wind
assuming
tunnel.
that probably.
Yeah, I think so. Specialized did do wind tunnel testing on shaved legs or non-shaved legs, and if you have really hairy legs, shaved legs definitely makes a big difference in terms of aerodynamics, which isn't necessarily why riders shave the legs. A lot of times it's for massage and for easier bandaging wounded legs and things like that. But in at least the Specialized test, it showed a definitive advantage to having shaved legs over heavy hairy legs. But it didn't, though, for beards. They did test with beards, and it didn't show an advantage for that. But they thought a lot of it was because your legs are rotating and in the wind directly more, and your beard has to then channel over the rest of your head and your helmet and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What about Quinn Simmons' facial hair? What he was wearing?
Well, apparently it's not doing any harm. So, although I would think it'd be, I've only had a beard back when I was in the early 20s and like that too, but it would seem like it'd be hot and messy to have. I don't get the appeal of beards that much too. Food gets
Simon
caught.
Geschke, he's been wearing one for a long time, hasn't he?
And his is very thick too. Yeah,
he's retiring, right?
So yeah, but it didn't seem to hamper him. I mean, he's good, good climber too. But I think
not a lot of race news going on.
Not much.
No,
the race is gonna come up. I did see the Battenkill announcement, so I believe it's gonna be UCI again, and that's a race that has a lot of gravel sections.
The UCI race in the U.S. is a big news story.
Yeah, so upstate New York, May 10th for next year. It's going to have all different categories for USSA cycling categories, plus Gran Fondo event that goes along with it and stuff too. So they're going to make a big deal out of it for almost any type of racer. And I'm not positive about the UCI thing, but I think it is going to be UCI race. So right, we have one right now, Maryland, which is supposed to return this year.
Well, the Grand Fondo New York race was UCI, wasn't it?
This year, you're right. Yeah, I didn't hear if that was going to be again, but that's interesting because.
And that's kind of around the same time. You could combine. Yeah.
Exactly, it might be a week. I think actually that might have been on purpose. There might be a week apart.
I hope they're doing some planning like that, but not like during the same time as the national championships.
Yeah, it's during the Giro, but they've not. Thank you for the transition to that, though, too. I talked to USA Cycling Kyle Knott, the national events director or vice president of national events or something like that. Kyle's he said that they're hoping they had to secure one more venue for nationals, and then they're hoping they would do that towards the end of last week, and then they'd be able to put stuff together this week and at least make an announcement this week as far as locations and dates of national championships. So they already have the Gran Fondo national championships because it's run by an outside source. Ruben Klein runs that for them with the Gran Fondo National Series. So that one's going to be Maryland again in September. So that one's already decided. But for the rest of them, I don't think any of them have been publicized yet. So yeah, so we should find out maybe about that this year. And I've had people asking me already about it too. And I'm not even on any committees or anything right now that have any kind of inside information. So I don't know, but people, they're
athletes. Your athletes asking about that because they're already thinking about their goals and how they want to train for next year. Is that?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, my athletes and then other athletes who just know that that I kind of know about these kind of things too. Yeah, because people are planning. I mean, like if you want to go to Italy with us and race in Italy, that's coming up in April next year, and you can go to warrencycling.com to see that information. But people, planning those kind of things too. I have to finalize a couple of different camps I'm doing for some groups too because people want to know what training things they can do, and especially if you have to take vacation time, and also look to see how you're going to target your training if you're going to start your base now. So like I said, I'm doing the form and efficiency drill starting now. Your son Taylor is already training somewhat intently now because his season is going to start in January in Spain. Yes. So so you need to know what your goals are. So I have an athlete too actually who puts a lot of emphasis on Big Sugar, and he did gravel worlds this year in the fall, and so he's thinking. He actually asked me, could I do a gravel camp in August to help him get ready for some of those races towards the end?
Right, because there's a lot of big gravel things do occur later in the season.
Yeah.
Like road racing scene in the U.S. is all March, April, May, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, the series goes for the gravel, the Grand Prix Lifetime series goes throughout the year, but it seems like a lot of big events do come in August, September, even October.
Yeah, they did make an announcement too for if you're interested in the Gravel World Series, which is a UCI series with all different age groups. and then and a pro race too, and all those too. And they added a second U.S. race. So they have the one that's in Fayetteville, and that's in May, I believe. And then they have another one in Mammoth now. They're going to do one in Mammoth, California in September, I think it is. But the one that was in Ontario is no longer going to happen. The one that Bruce Dunn used to, or not Bruce Dunn, that Bruce Bird used to put on. Bruce Dunn does the one in Fayetteville. Bruce Bird put on, and he's not doing it. But there's another one being held in Ontario, though, but it's the same weekend as the Fayetteville one, which makes it hard. Right, why would they do that? They're kind of splitting people up there. But yeah, so that's so that calendar has been released too. So there are calendars. You can plan some things, but you just can't plan your national championships yet. But yeah, people do it early.
Most athletes probably have already taken their time off the bike now. They're getting back into, like, you have the drills coming up, you're doing drills, doing some cross training, some cyclocross racing. I saw Robin Carpenter was out at that Nash, was it the Nash Cross?
Oh, yeah.
He got sixth, so it was pretty good.
Oh.
So he was I follow him on Instagram, and actually I follow tons of riders through our account, but I just don't spend that much time really on social media because it's a dark hole.
Time suck, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I did see Robin Carpenter showing how there's some roadies that were racing at the cyclocross, but the cross ones that emphasize cyclocross as their main we're still ahead of the roadies that joined in.
There's a big skill element in that for sure. But nationals for that second week of December, so it's coming up relatively soon. It's like 4 weeks away, so it's not very far away till the national cyclocross calendar is going to be over, and then the pros that want to race in Europe will go over to Europe and race over there. But on a national level, there's very few races that will happen much past the second, third week of December. A few will go into the end of December or beginning of January, but most of the bulk of the season for most of the country is coming to a close pretty soon.
Sure. And looks like on the World Cup level, I don't know how many World Cup, because they used to start with the World Cup in the U.S., right? That was a World Cup race, wasn't it, in Waterloo,
yep, sure was.
Wisconsin? So,
well, they had for a while when they still had the bike show, they had one in Vegas, and that was a World Cup race for 1 or 2 years too. So that was in September, I think. So yeah.
And then they had Iowa Jingle Cross. Was that considered a World Cup?
It used to be around Thanksgiving, but then they bumped that up to like September or October too.
Included in the series, yeah. Well, but the World Cup now they reduce? They try to streamline the racing in cyclocross. There's several different series. There's a XO2 Super Prestige World Cup. So, but it's kind of crazy anyway. We don't follow that closely. Even Velo News doesn't have its own tab to follow cyclocross articles. But the World Cup's coming up in Antwerp this weekend, the 24th of November, and followed the following week in Dublin. So they tried to expand it some more internationally, but that's caused the travel problems and people skipping them. So that was part of the issue. But so far, though, I mean, Ellie Isabert had a suspension for that stomping incident. I say Lauren Sweck got a win over the weekend. The real competition comes when Van Aert, Matteo Van der Poel, and Tom Pidcock decide to race, but their racing is becoming more and more limited as they want to focus more on their road program, especially the classics in the spring. Really probably dictates what they're going to do for cyclocross.
Yeah, they're saying I think the end of December is when they're expecting the big guns to come out for a very short cyclocross season. But you're right. By the time cyclocross is over, I mean the World Championships are usually like the first weekend of February, and then you got Milan-San Remo, which is in the first second week of March. So it's not much of a gap between those, and then it's racing in earnest on the road.
Right. Wow. Yeah, it'll come before you know it. I mean, the Santos Tour Down Under will be in the middle or late third part weekend of January. Then the Great Oceans road race. Cadel Evans Great Oceans. I was trying to look up, where is that race take place?
I think it's near Melbourne, along the coast.
Or Melbourne, okay.
Yeah.
We're starting a new flight to Brisbane.
Huh?
But that's not near there. And Sydney's the other trip I can do. So, yeah, unfortunately, it'll be fun to see I mean, the Santos Down Under would be probably fun to watch since they are all around Adelaide, but it's really hot that time. So I don't know how much fun as a spectator is being so hot.
They've had some bad fire seasons and stuff that have happened right along the side of the race too, where it's been in the hundreds and then bad fires and stuff too. So yeah, it's definitely the middle of their summer.
All right. Well, did you see the Ghent 6-day just took place?
No,
And
no.
Benjamin Thomas, the Frenchman, first Frenchman to win. Now I was trying to. The article said it's been going on way back since 2022. I was like, wait, not way back since 2022. Ghent 6 days got a super long history, but what
Like
they revived.
1902.
Yeah. So yeah, those are still going on. I guess the Madison Garden one doesn't happen anymore, right?
No, I did see that Filippo Ganna said though he's not going to do track anymore. No more track worlds for him. He's going to focus on road racing, and he's multiple world champion, especially in the individual pursuit. And he and Ashton Lambie went back and forth for a couple of years being the best. And Ashton Lambie now is doing some kind of boat sailing thing where he gets to use his legs, I think too. So I'm not sure exactly how that works, but Filippo Ganna, yeah, track. And then we saw a lot of Kopecky actually doing more track this year too, and Demi Vollering do a track and got a world championship medal in that too. So yeah, it's interesting how the track road and mixes sometimes.
Maybe Filippo Ganna is trying to set an example for Tom Pidcock on how if you really want to do good on the road, you need to focus more on the road.
I did see something about that too. That Pitcock, so he's staying with Ineos.
Oh yeah, his
Once-
contract was too big for anyone to
Yeah.
take. Yeah,
A lot
it's
of people have
crazy.
left Ineos too and stuff too, and they're kind of revitalizing and having a new emphasis on bringing up talent again, and not for Britain. I think they had a contract with the German team now to do that. And yeah, but Pitcock said that I saw something that said that he thinks he might need to focus a little more. So I mean, he's already been world champion in mountain bike, world champion, Olympic champion in mountain bike also, and then world champion in cyclocross. So he's not done that on the road yet, and I think it's going to take a little more concerted focus to be able to excel a little bit more on the road. Just the competition is just deeper than it is in some of those other sports, other disciplines. But yeah, so I think he might be realizing, but he's a haul of what, 25 maybe at this point, so he's probably not very very old, but yeah, he might need to start focusing a little bit more if he wants to really excel on the road, which he
Right.
does well, but
Yeah, but I mean, until this guy's schedule right behind you, Tadej Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard too. Until Tadej Pogacar's schedule set, it's going to be interesting to see what riders will focus on the races where they have to race against him, or the other races where he's not going to be, where they have more of a chance to win. I don't know. Tadej Pogacar, we had our last episode, the Tadej Pogacar show, talking about just the incredible season 2024, and 2025 he could equal it. He's still at the age and the peak where he could be hard to surpass it, but I mean,
if he
could
could
do.
match it though, that'd
Yeah,
be incredible.
yeah, yeah.
So Pitcock
that'd
is
be
25. I checked and see he's 25. So yeah, it's usually pretty good at guessing those things.
sure. Usually, yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
you're right. Yeah. But you know what though? Again, I mean, Teddy falls and breaks a hip or something. I mean, we've always seen him break a wrist, and he didn't win the Tour that year, but he still. And I saw something too that Bernard Hinault said. He thought that it was not unrealistic to think that 6 Tour de France wins for Tadej is a possibility, which is funny because he had 2 times that he raced at what was the beginning of the peak of his career. He didn't win. He got second twice. So he's if he could win 6 and have a couple more podiums on top of that too, it's possible he could be the best Tour de France racer of all time in terms of success. But yeah, we still don't know.
right.
We need
He's,
a couple more years.
he's already finished either second or first every tour he's raced.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and including years he was injured coming into it. So yeah, no, it's interesting. It's a good time to be a cycling fan in a lot of ways because we're seeing some of these extraordinary performances and extraordinary athletes and crossover, like again, Walt van Aert and Matteo Van der Poel and really Pidcock, I guess, too. But for sure, though, I mean, Van der Poel and Van Aert, they dominated cross for so long and really didn't do a lot of road. And then they made that switch to road, and they're not dominating necessarily, but they're certainly dominating some events.
Strong impact, yes.
Yeah, it's great.
So your picture behind you, Jonas has gloves on, cycling gloves. Teddy, no. I've seen Teddy wear them a few times, but he mostly doesn't wear. I don't wear gloves much anymore. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do
Man.
sometimes, but
I always wear them. Always.
Yeah.
You fall once and put your hand down, you could be off the bike for weeks. So it's just not worth it to me. And plus 2, I've got my hands sometimes get a little numb So I think if I rode without gloves, it'd be worse. But some people have told me that no, it's no worse without gloves. But yeah, I don't mind. And plus, too, when you wipe your brow and stuff too, having that terry cloth a little bit or a little bit of fabric there helps soak up some of the sweat. I don't know. Why don't you wear them? What's deterring you from wearing them?
I don't know. I don't know why exactly.
Matteo Van der Poel, he famously doesn't wear them a lot of times in cross races, and that's seemed like you'd really, I mean, because it's cold. And I wear long finger gloves a lot of times. When I race across a lot, I had neoprene gloves I wore a lot of times. Like thinner neoprene because it's wet and cold, and of course it's a little bit easier with electronic shifting. I don't really have a cross bike right now. The one I have is old still too. But if you have electronic shifting, it's a little bit easier even when your hands get cold. But I did so many cross races where having to shift into the big chain ring from the small chain ring, it took a lot more force, and your hands really, really cold, and you've been pounding for 45, 50, 55 minutes in a cross race. It was hard to do physically to
But most
shift
people
up.
have one buys now, don't they? Most cross bikes are one buys.
I mean, pros for sure. I mean, that's almost always been the case. And I rode one by for a lot of times too. Depending upon if I was racing just in Chicago, it's very flat courses in general. You can get easily by with the one by. If you had like the Nationals course we had here in Asheville was pretty hilly, and it helped to have a two by. So kind of depends on. And I used to switch once in a while back and forth. Depending upon what was going on during the season. So yeah, when I was really into cross, that's like the people that would have multiple tire selections, multiple gearing selections, then they're jumping around because they're really playing for what the favors a specific course. Or if you're just going to do an all around thing, then you just kind of go with whatever you have, a two by or one by or whatever. So, but I think, it just gets hard sometimes to shift with mechanical. So that's certainly one advantage of electronic shifting in cold weather, either mountain biking or Iceman Cometh, which was it cold this year? We didn't talk about that yet, but
well, it was around freezing early in the morning for the early starters. The elite start like by 3 p.m. I think it was probably in the close to 50s, maybe.
Okay. So I've definitely had mountain bike races where I really had trouble shifting on the shifter in that one too, especially again front derailleur, where it took more mechanical force because my hands were getting numb or tired or cold or yeah. So that's one advantage. I saw an article this last week that talked about the advantages of electronic versus mechanical shifting, and there was a debate between two riders and stuff like that too. But they didn't talk about that. But that's true. I mean, for me, I've had problems shifting when it's been really cold, or a particular race that's my hands just got super fatigued, and it should be made it hard to shift.
Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't take really any notes today. We got in like 5 hours late, so I was pretty tired. I went straight out on my ride. Fortunately, I did get a good ride in. I've got you can see part of
A little muddy.
Yeah, a little muddy there, but that was the bike path that turned into more of a dirt path for a little ways. I usually stay on one side of the river if I'm just riding along the Main River towards Mainz, but I went across the bridge over to the other side for a little bit. Just reminding myself why I usually stay on the one side, because you have to make some more turns, go a little bit away from the river in a little town, then get on this muddy path for a little bit, and so.
And you have fenders on that bike, or
just behind the seat,
the little ass saver?
The ass saver is all, yeah. So.
And then you have bigger tires. What are you running on those bikes?
I've got a 30 on the front.
Oh, okay.
The back is 28, I think.
That's probably can fit in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I remember I got a 30 for Taylor. I was trying to put on another bike. I was like, it doesn't fit. Can't use it. So
older road bikes for
my
sure.
bikes are old. Yeah.
But they're all they're not disc brake. They're all not cantilevers. They're all
rim brakes.
Rim brake bikes. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
I'm pretty much like 30 years behind times and everything.
Well, you've got bikes stashed all over the place, so it'd be hard to upgrade every one of those bikes to a disc brake bike. So, and it makes sense too. It's much easier to, although it's becoming less prevalent now. You can't just buy. You can probably find old used rim brake wheels, but it used to be that it's good to have wheels you can swap between different bikes, or if something happens, you can swap in a new one for not that much money. But yeah, more and more as discs become the prevalent system, that if you have an issue, it's gonna be easier to find a disc brake replacement than a rim brake.
Are most okay? I'm show my lack of buying new bikes. Are road bikes mostly all through axles now too?
Yeah, yep. Through axles with hydraulic disc brakes, it's really rare to find even a cable actuated disc brake. Although if you're going to go to like, but even down to like the Murrays and the Walmart type bikes and stuff too, they all have, but those are cable actuated primarily. Cable actuated disc brakes though, so they almost all have disc brakes. And the cable
But they're
actuated disc
through
brake,
axles and not quick release.
I think that most of them are through axles, but they're mostly not bolt-on through axles. They're mostly with a skewer thing you can spin too. So more user serviceable. But yeah, it's just becoming more the industry standard, even down to the less expensive bikes.
Wow. All right. Well, anything else you got on your list? I was curious to look at our
Covered mine.
birthday list earlier on the 18th of November. We had a pretty nice list there. Well, nice for us because we're American and there's an American at the top of the list, right?
Yeah, my neighbor's almost in Bobby Julik, so he lives in Greenville now. Never thought he'd move from. I think he lived in Colorado before this, but George Hincapie convinced him to move down and do work with him in Greenville, and so we see him once in a while. Actually, I was in a race with him this spring where he broke his collarbone. I think, as he said, it was the first time he broke his collarbone ever. It was in a gravel race, and
Ouch.
I know people that ride with him regularly, and they were saying that his technical skills on the gravel aren't real high. And so he was in the lead group, of course, because he's super strong still. And yeah, hit some sand and just bit it and broke his collarbone. So, and I think they said that was the first time he ever broke his collarbone in his career.
That's
So,
crazy.
but yeah,
But
he's here.
Yeah. Let's not remember him for that.
No. He was an early pioneer and yeah, I do see him once in a while. I don't really know him, but I see him once in a while around. So, but he's got a great attitude. He actually coaches George's son, so he's
Enzo's coach.
he's intimately involved in Enzo's career. So
Yeah, and Jens and Bobby I guess they're still doing the podcast.
Oh, are they?
I don't know. Well, I mean, if you look at their interview list, it's pretty phenomenal. So
yeah,
Bobby and Jens. But yeah, he was Grand Tour podium.
Yep, third place
in the tour back in
98.
98, yeah. Criterium International 2 times overall winner, the Enco Tour Benelux overall winner, Paris-Nice overall winner. So yeah, big long career, and it just seemed like a pretty approachable, down to earth kind of guy too.
Yeah. He always seems happy and willing to talk to people and stuff. So
Emmanuel Buchmann, which seems like, I thought, well, he's kind of similar racer, isn't he, to Bobby Julka? Some of the time trials well and can climb well. He's 32 today. So he's going to ride for Cofidis next year. He's been on Bora Hansgrohe pretty much most of his whole career. But is Emmanuel Buchmann the one that did get selected for one of the Grand Tours and it kind of got him upset?
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So I think Cedric Bassier, isn't he the one is he doing Cofidis now? Who's doing Cofidis? Who's the director? Yeah, they definitely had a resurgence though this year. So
yeah, they won a stage at the Tour for the first time in a long time.
First time.
And Nicholas Arndt, good fast finishers, won stages at the Vuelta and the Tour, and Tour of Italy, the Giro, not the Tour de France, Tour of Poland. He's third on the list for the birthday, 33, just a year older than Emmanuel Buchmann. Nobody older. Yeah, we always try to find older. And some of the older ones, I see 60s. I think, oh, that's not that old now anymore, is it?
No, there's an 84-year-old. So, Camille Vink, 84 years old.
I'm actually getting to the time of the day where I've been up so long that I'm not seeing very well.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes are tired.
Camille's Belgian, and it's actually a male named Camille. They race in all the big races too. So they didn't win a lot, but they're second in some too. So but they see they Tour de l'Avenir, they're fourth place in the GC in there. So obviously when they were young and they were doing well. And then in 1962, so and he's 84 now too. But he was also was ninth in Giro d'Italia, and so it looks like about a 5-year career at the top of the sport. Nice. 84 years old.
All right. Well, there is an American celebrating his 17th birthday, Griffin Kasky, raced at the Tour de l'Abitibi. So
yeah, I'm trying to think if there was. I know it was David Villages' David's birthday yesterday, but I'm trying to think of other Americans I knew that maybe.
I don't see any more today. All right. Well, we are going to wrap this up. Episode 373. And any final words?
No, get out and enjoy the weather when you can, because it's going to get bad in a lot of places, I think, for sure. So, or ride inside. So I couldn't ride inside last year because I had some issues with my studio, but I think I've got those solved. So yeah, look for opportunities. There's all kinds of things. I'm going to do the Echelon Racing League again this year and do the Esports National Championship. I think I can't do a couple of the races early on, but also there's a winter cycling leagues starting up all over the place. One here in the Western North Carolina near Asheville, south of us a little bit. It's going to start up December 7th. What's that?
Indoor e-racing?
E-racing is, there's an Echelon Sports League, but also Zwift Sports Leagues and stuff too. Echelon's the one that goes in, they're using My Whoosh now, just like the UCI World Championships, and that's what USA Cycling is going to use as well. And Echelon is the one I used to race with Triple X on the indoor league still. Apparently they're not doing team leagues anymore. It was nice when we had the RGT platform and you actually could wear the kit of your team. And when I won nationals in esports, I got to have a virtual jersey I could wear in races on the RGT platform, but that got bought out by Wahoo, and then they disbanded it. So they're using My Whoosh now, which I've not used yet. So I need to get a little experience on that. And you have to do at least one race on My Whoosh. I don't know if it's with the Echelon League or any league, but if you want to do nationals too. So that's not till the 1st of February. But and like I said, I'm not going to race a whole lot in December, but I think January I'll do 3 or 4 races on successive weekends to kind of get ready for nationals and stuff too. But I mean, if you're on Zwift, you can find a race almost every hour, to race too if you want to, or hard rides. It's not too hard to do that. And they have a Tuesday night race league, I know, there too. And so there's all kinds of opportunities to ride indoors, either hard or even easy with groups and stuff too. But although hardly anybody ever goes easy on the indoor bike rides for sure.
All right. And the Velocity starts next week?
Yeah, next Monday.
The 25th.
Yeah. Now that we're announcing it, really makes me have to do it. So I do have the schedule up already too, but I need to, like I said, practice my classes a couple of times because I've not run any classes yet on that platform. I've done a couple, but it'll be great. Again, my athletes who've done the drills with me and stuff like that in my classes online before, because I have done these online before, just different platforms in the past, and they all love them. So I think it's well worth your time.
All right, sounds great. And you're going to put it up on warrencycling.com too, right?
Yes, I'll put it there for sure. Yep. And if you just want to buy the form efficiency drills, just the without being on a platform doing your own, you can do that through Training Peaks too.
Training Peaks, and then they find.
I should put a link on that to warrencycling.com too.
Yeah, do that. All right, sounds good. All right, thanks, Randy. Talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
All right, bye now.